Did you ever have a friend who couldn't show up on time to save his life? That pretty much describes my idiot friend Dave. He was late to everything, all the time, no exceptions. It didn't matter what we were doing, where we were going, or even if I was driving. I could not get Dave out of the house on time. I'd show up 2 hours early, and Dave would still leave the house late. He'd have to change shirts, or feed his fish, or wash his car. It was unbelievable the things he could find to do at the last minute. Things would break. He would lose something. He had to show you something. It was interminable. I hate being late. I just hate it. I couldn't imagine the stress that Dave must be under all the time since he is perpetually late. Then I discovered his secret one time. I was giving a lecture series at a community center, and Dave wanted to come along. As usual, I showed up hours early, and we were still late getting out the door. We have 20 miles to cover in 10 minutes. We hop in the car, and I tear out of the driveway. "You idiot!" I scream at him. "We're late again!" "Nuh-uh-uh," he says to me. "We're not late yet. It's only 7:20. Well, he certainly got me there. My lecture didn't start until 7:30, and it was only 7:20, so I wasn't going to actually be late for another 10 minutes. So 10 minutes pass by, and the clock ticks over to 7:31, and then Dave turns to me and says, "Now you're late." How's that for coping skills? Dave's a Zen master. Anyway, we got tired of Dave always being late. This was the 70s, back before cell phones. You couldn't just call him and remind him or ask him where he was. If you didn't physically go pick him up, he was always at least an hour late. It didn't matter if we were playing tennis or he was going to a rehearsal of the band. The idiot was always an hour late. So, after a while, we decided to tell him that the start time was an hour early. This worked great. For years, he was only 10 or 20 minutes late. It was tolerable. It worked so well, it came to be known as Dave Standard Time. Whenever my friends and I would set something up and we would mention a time, we would always joke, "Is that regular time or Dave Standard Time?" Of course, if Dave was present, it was always Dave Standard Time. Then one day, we set up a doubles match, and Dave actually showed up on time. Well, by the time we showed up, he was fit to be tied. He had been waiting for us for an hour. "Where the hell have you guys been?" he screamed at us. "How long have you been here?" I asked him. "I've been here an hour. We were supposed to meet here at 3. His eyes were bugging out of his head. He was pissed. I explained, "But Dave, you're never here on time." "Well, I was on time today," he countered. "Yeah, but you're never here on time. You're always at least an hour late," I continued to explain. He began to take the hint. "So, what are you saying?" Dave asked. "I'm saying, Dave, that you're always at least an hour late." And I paused so it could sink in. "So, you guys always tell me the start time is an hour early?" he asked, his eyes as big as saucers. "Bingo," I replied. Well, you would have thought I had shot his dog and sold his mother into white slavery, he totally lost it. He stormed off, got into his VW bug, and raced away. I guess he figured that if he went to all that trouble to be late, the least we could do was wait around for him. It really offended him that we had all been showing up at about the same time for all those years. What were we thinking? That was the last anyone ever saw of Dave.